Hey guys, it's Connor Shadow here, and give me a second. I just ate and I just had to burp. Oh god, sorry about that. Um, and I didn't know that I was going to. But there's some other thing. I'm not gonna expect no videos next week as well. Um, I told you I'd probably do 2 or 3 this week. I have been trying to think of how to do stuff, and I'm on a roadblock about that stuff right now. So I'm probably gonna think about it while I am busy next week, because I'm gonna be secluded from the world basically. I'm gonna be on a trail for a whole week. I'm gonna be biking, so don't expect any videos. Yes, I'm going to have my phone on me, but I'm gonna be able to see your comments. I'm gonna be able to but I'm not gonna be able to post anything. So don't expect any videos, please. And some of y'all down there that will ask anyway, please just don't ask for videos right now. Well, if it's for God, I'm okay with you asking, just don't say as soon as possible afterwards or something like that, please. Um, and, well, this is going to be part 0 for What If Deku Was Abandoned. Leave a like, subscribe if you like my content, and would like to see more. Now, let's get into the video. We start with a 4-year-old Izuku. Izuku is a little different from how he was in canon. He has more of a greenish or turquoise hair color. It's a noticeable green, but it has a mixture of blue in it, making it a little turquoise. And his eyes are red. Izuku just got back from the court doctor. His mom was not the one who took him. His mom was at home, cooking dinner. His dad was the one that took him. Sashi Midori. His dad was quiet the whole time on the way back. He didn't say a word. And right now, they're near this cliff. And Izuku saw his father stop, and he saw his father breathe fire onto himself, burning himself. Izuku freaked out, not knowing why he was doing it, and was about to reach for Hisashi's phone and call the ambulance. But Hisashi was like off of fire, but he had a few burns, and he also cut himself a few times. And then Hisashi reached into the car and grabbed his phone and all other important objects. He also had a backpack. And then he jammed the gas pedal on the drive and pretty much tied Izuku. Well, before he jammed the pedal down, he tied Izuku to the car. Maybe not tied, but kind of forced Izuku to stay in the car by locking it and turning on child lock, which Izuku wouldn't have enough time to climb in the front seat to jump out. Izuku didn't know what was going on, and then until he saw that his father jammed the gas pedal to the floorboard, and Hisashi moved out of the way quickly, and he did get shoved by the car, which he broke his leg. He screamed out in pain, but Izuku didn't hear it. Izuku is floating, but he was still in the car. He kind of laughed, thinking it was pretty cool, until he looked through the windshield and saw that he wasn't floating, he was falling. And that's when he got super scared, thinking, and his mind matured rapidly. His mind matured so fast that he nearly lost his mind. But he clasped on to his mentality, and he thought, with the mentality of a, a young adult, this is where I'm going to die. And Izuku blacks out. Izuku wakes up and can't see the car anywhere. He doesn't see where the car is. And he looks around some more, and you see the car is a good distance away. And he's like, how did I get out? And then he looks at himself. He sees that he's scaly, and he has wings. And he just sees that he looks cool, but what is he? And Izuku, wondering what he is, but not having enough time to dwell, sees a rabbit, a small rabbit, a little smaller than him, and with instincts of a predator, he jumps out and eats it. And now we skip. Sorry about that. Now we skip. Let's see. We skip 5 years. So he's 4, so he's 9 now. We see a lot bigger Tsuku. He's a lot bigger than he was before. He's about the same size as a whale. A big whale. Fully grown whale. And Tsuku's just found this cave. He calls it the Crystal Cave, because it has a lot of crystals in it. And all of the crystals have this energy about them. And whenever he broke one, a thunderbolt, or a lightning strike, basically came and shocked the area around it. Suku got electrocuted by one, and it hurt him. But he's only been at the mouth of the cave. He hasn't really made it his home, but he does live at the entrance. Enough because it's the only cave that's big enough for him. He's not brave enough to go deep enough and deep into it. But today, Zuku got up the guts to go deeper into the cave. And we see Zuku walking in his dragon form into the cave, deeper and deeper, until he starts noticing that crystals are no longer around him, and he can barely see. He can only see this faint light. Zuku did break a few crystals and got shocked by them, It hurt. He is injured in a few places, but he knows he'll heal. They weren't that bad. And Zuko walks in and sees a white dragon. And then he also sees a demonic dragon under it. He doesn't know what this is. Zuko then sees crystals of. Give me a second. Of. And he sees symbols. He looks at the very top and sees that the white dragon has this symbol of a sun. And he looks down at the dragon at the bottom and sees the symbol of the moon. And he looks at the other crystals. He sees one that has a fire symbol, one that has an ocean, a symbol of a wave, one with a rock, and one with a tornado. And he sees another one, but there's no crystal. There's only a skeleton. Izuku walks up to the skeleton and looks at the symbol, and it's of a lightning. It has a lightning bolt on it. Izuku thought, it'd be pretty cool if I could stand here. Izuku then took the time to get the skeleton in an area where he could halfway bury it. It is a lot bigger than him, so he couldn't really get a lot of it. He had to drag a lot of it, so he broke a lot of bits and pieces off. And he couldn't really bury all of it at the same time, so yeah. Izuku then stood on the spot where the skeleton was a few hours ago, and just sits there thinking, I wonder what these places were for. Izuku then feels this tingle going on, and he looks around and sees that the skeleton that he was buried is gone. And he sees that it turned into electricity. And it's going into the what he calls the seat or pedestal. And he sees that it's charging it. It's charging the pedestal. But he sees it's only charging Izuku's pedestal, the one that Izuku's on. All the other ones look like dead. Izuku looks around his pedestal and sees that these wires, or what he thinks is wires, are glowing. And he sees that they're cut and then looped around back to to another wire that's going the same direction, meaning it's going in an infinite loop. It's not the same on both sides. Izuku then sees that there's these probes or rods that are coming out of the pedestal, and before Izuku realizes, he's stabbed in 4 different places. He's stabbed in his wings, his heart, and his head. Izuku, thinking that he died, but then realizes he's feeling energized. But before he could finish his sentence in his head, he blacks out again. And we skip 2 days later. Izuku finally wakes up and gets up and notices he's the same size as all the other dragons on the pedestals now. And he notices that his dragon form, which was green, is now turquoise. He notices that there's a few embers from the white and blackish dragons, seeing as they're connected to all of the pedestals, whereas the other dragon pedestals are only connected to the center, including Zuku's. And the only things that were broken was the connection to all the other pedestals from the middle, besides Zuku's. Zuku's was the only one that was still connected. All the other connections eroded over time. Zuku's just had a few bits and pieces left. A few more years, and his would have been disconnected as well. And Zuku looks at the middle and sees that there's sparks coming off of both the dragons, and then he sees that the crystal becomes untransparent. He can no longer see inside, and so he just tries to remember which direction this was and just heads back out inside the cave. But whenever he gets outside the cave completely, he turns around and the cave's no longer there. Asuku is towering over the trees right now, and Asuku just thinks, what happened to the cave? It was right behind me a second ago. Asuku then starts looking around some more, seeing if maybe he, stepped too far. He is a lot bigger than he is used to. And Asuku didn't see any trace of the cave. Not a single trace. And Asuku then, seeing as a whole forest, it looks like it's getting it's growing faster. Asuku sees this green energy start surrounding the trees, and they're getting taller and bigger. Asuku sees there's this one section of the forest that's not growing the same height, and that's split off from where this road is. Everything past that road, or path, isn't growing to the height of other trees. These trees are towering over Izuku by a lot. Izuku, at this moment, is, 100 meters tall. And 50 meters width. I think that would be good. Pretty much make it I'm doing basically I'm only doing height when it comes to this. Also, go watch CP Immortal. Go watch his Gargantuan Leviathan series. You'll love it. Okay, back to the video. Asuku sees the trees are towering over him now, and he thinks it's cool. He starts flying, flapping his wings, seeing as they're a lot bigger than they were, and he couldn't fly with the size that he had what he thinks is a few hours ago, but in reality was a few days. And Asuku flies to the top of the trees, and he gets to the top and just starts flying over them. Asuku then sees something in the distance. Not just one, but 2 or 3. And after a second later, Asuku then looks down and sees a lot of not just the plant life, the plant life grow, but a lot of the animals also mutated. He sees humanoid wolves, things that would be in a fantasy world. And Izuku doesn't understand. So a lot of these creatures see Izuku and just bow. They see him as the supreme ruler of this forest. Izuku then sees the clouds are turning gray slowly. The three things in the distance aren't close enough, but Izuku then sees that the lightning is being attracted to him. Izuku feels this urge, and he flaps a little more, and lightning just starts, and not from the clouds. Some of it's coming from the clouds, but majority of it is coming off of Izuku. Izuku is letting off streaks of electricity, and then he roars into the sky, letting off a humongous lightning bolt, or what he calls lightning strike. Izuku, then the clouds slowly start turning to white, but it's really cloudy still. The clouds aren't gray, but they are blocking the sun a lot. But a few hours of Izuku flying and the three things in the distance, Izuku can now see more clearly. They're helicopters. Izuku doesn't see any doesn't note any hostility from them, but he doesn't want to take chance. He doesn't really want to take chances. But he went, and three helicopters finally get over the forest. Izuku can hear what they're saying. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here at a forest, which what is this forest's name again? The reporters, one of the cameramen say, I think they're changing the name to, wait, what is that? And the reporter turns around and sees Izuku flying there, looking dead at them. And they're freaking out. They're saying, what the heck is that? The pilot is flying, trying to get distance from Izuku. Izuku lets him. The pilot sees that Izuku's not following and stops slowly and faces Izuku. All of the other helicopters turn their cameras onto Izuku, saying, we just found a mysterious creature. It might be a quirked animal. Izuku then lets off sparks of electricity, and they say, wait, that shape. And one of the extra cameramen in the back of the helicopter bring out his phone and start searching up. And then he shows the reporter, that's a dragon. From what I can tell, that's exactly what a dragon should look like. What the heck? And a lot of the people over worldwide are freaking out. They just found a mythical creature in a forest that just grew to unbelievable heights and size in a matter of seconds. And the camera people look down to the ground of the thing, and they see other things like goblins, orcs, werewolves, and other mythical creatures, griffins, serpents, and in the bodies of water, which grew to be humongous, there's sea serpents, mermaids, and other aquatic mythical creatures. Any mythical creature you can name, it's there. Izuku dives down into the body of water and brings out a sea serpent by the neck, basically shocking it to death, and then starts eating it on top of one of the trees, away from the cameras. They're looking at him, so one of them is, and they see that Zuku is probably the top predator, and if he didn't attack them, they don't think anything will. And we skip, so when we skip a few hours later, there has been a worldwide, and we go to one of the news broadcasts. We go to this little, this skeleton and this mouse. The mouse says, interesting, interesting. All right, how much would you think that this forest would cost? And it says, millions, maybe thousands. It's probably way above your price range, Nezzy. Nezzy says, what if we tell the government form a special team to deal with these monsters? A team of specialists, of specialized combat styles. People with quirks related to these mythical creatures. All Might thinks about it and says, I think that the government will probably agree to it then. And then Ezekiel calls up this, then broadcasts, can I have this, guys? Can I have Ryuko Tatsuma to the front office, please? No, not the front office. To the principal's office, please. And then skip a few minutes later. Sorry about that. We skip a few minutes later. We see this young girl. This girl with that's probably around 10, 11. Around Izuku's age. Izuku right now is 10. She's a little bit younger, but around the same age. Nezu put in a new thing for runs not just UA, but other normal middle schools, high schools, and even some elementary schools, which is where she is from. And Nezu then talks to her and says, Miss Ryuko, before he could say anything, she asked, am I in trouble for something? And Nezu says, no, dear. I just wanted to know if you would like an offer. And when she hears that, she's a little bit intrigued. She's wondering what this offer would be, what it could be. So she says, what offer are you trying to make, sir? And Nezu says, oh, dear, this offer would be an offer of a lifetime. How would you like to go explore that forest? He points to the TV. She looks at it, looks at the TV, which this forest has been around for a while now. It's been a few months, and the news reporters just got the data posted because they came up with issues here, like a lot of issues when it came to trying to get up close and personal with the thing named the Storm Dragon. They have nicknamed him Draco. Draco the Storm Dragon. And Deku, let's get that. Sorry about that. We see it has been 5 months since the reporters came by, and Deku has seen many people try to attempt to take some of these creatures down. Some were successful, and some were not. And during this time, the government has set up a barrier that only he can cross. Because none of the guards, nobody will ever try to stop him. They see him as, if he dies, the whole forest will go into chaos and eliminate everything, all life. Doesn't matter what it is. No, not even the land or sea, nothing will be safe. The skies will not be safe either. Deku is on top of this wall. This wall is really big. It's like the wall that surrounds the wall of Attack on Titan. You know that wall? It's basically like that. Giant wall. More high tech though. The gate is more high tech. It's titanium. Even if Izuku rammed it if Izuku rammed it with all his force, he'd probably make a big dent on it. He'd have to ram it twice to break it completely. And Izuku hunts a lot of creatures. He hunts a lot of sea serpents and other aquatic mythical creatures, like mermaids, sirens, fishmen, and other sea life as well. Deku hunts a few land creatures too, like goblins, orcs, werewolves. That was my lamp. And a few other creatures of that nature. But this particular time, Deku is hunting a special creature. He has only seen one of this creature, and this is that one. Deku does not want the humans to get their hands on this one. This creature is the alpha werewolf. It has a white coat, and like Izuku, it has an element the same as Izuku's. It's just a lot weaker than Izuku's. Izuku has realized over time that a lot of the leaders, like the Alpha Sea Serpent or Leader Sea Serpent, or a bunch of the leaders, have the element of lightning, just like him. But he's noticed that it's normally blue. It's normally blue, that it doesn't really change color. It changes, like, if it's light blue, it means it's newly became the alpha creature. If it's a darker color, it means it's been the alpha creature for a very long time, and it's had a lot of practice with its lightning, meaning it's strengthened its lightning many, many times. But Izuku's lightning is the only lightning that can't be, like, blocked. Zuko has tested his lightning on a lot of the alpha creatures, which he had to put in line sometimes when some of them were getting rowdy. Like the one time that the leader Griffin wanted to try to fly over the wall and try to set up a nest in a nearby city. Let's zoom back to that. Let's have a flashback here. Sugu is laying down on top of the wall, and here's a lot of whoosh going past him. He opens his eyes slightly and sees that there's griffins passing him. Izuku, tired, but knows that he can't let them get out, gets up and then sees there's one with a black feathers in fur. He realizes that Alpha Griffin is leading them. Izuku starts flying, and for any of the people, like a lot of people have seen the Griffins, like to see the Griffins, and thinking something happened to Draco. A lot of them are whispering, and then until they hear a boom, and a lot of them see this lightning streak go across the sky, and Izuku it just appears in this lightning cloud coming off, appearing from the Griffin, the black Griffin, and Izuku comes out of it with lightning coming off of him, and they hear him roar. Izuku is roaring with fury, seeing as the Griffin has just disobeyed him, and he doesn't like it when somebody disobeys him. Izuku charges up a blast. The Griffin charges up his own, thinking, if I can take him down, I can take control of this forest. And Izuku blasts the Griffin before he can do anything. Not even a feather was left of him. All of the Griffins that day, besides the females that were still in the forest, and one male that Izuku let pass because the male was in the back, and obviously the weakest of the group, go. Izuku basically eradicated majority of the Griffin males that day. And Izuku pretty much promoted the last Griffin male to the rank of Alpha and gave him the lightning element. Not as strong as Izuku's, but the same strength as the old Griffin Alpha, which had a darkened tint to his blue lightning, which this Griffin has a lighter tint of blue to his lightning. And then we skip back to when Izuku is now laying on top of the wall that has the gate under it. Izuku at this moment is 15. Izuku has gotten more of a reputation as the Guardian and the Gatekeeper, because how Izuku likes to lay on the wall above the gate. A lot of people have nicknamed him the Gatekeeper, and he still has his nickname of the Storm Dragon and Draco. A lot of people have referred to him as Draco more often than the other two, though. Most people think that Izuku is a legend, a myth, but people in Japan know that he's real. And we skip to a mouse, a skeleton, a girl with bunny ears, a blonde girl, and a few other miscellaneous people with features. And we also see this other blonde girl. And we see them in these suits. The majority of you know the bunny girl as Mirako, the bunny hero. But right now, she's in middle school. She's in the same grade as Ryuko, or Ryuku, the dragon hero. They are also in the same class. Then we skip over the other blonde girl, which we all know as Mount Lady. I don't know her actual name. I've heard it before. I'm going to have to look it up and write it down or try to remember it, but I can't remember it right now. I'm too tired to look it up. Sorry, I'm lazy. And there's a few other people. One guy has a wolf quirk that lets him shift himself into a werewolf-looking person. So it's something that looks like a werewolf. And a couple other people have things that are related to mermaids or sea serpents or some other things like, let's see, Sabretooth or Griffin. Some have snake quirks that let them shift into giant snakes. A lot of them have very powerful quirks. And we go to the rat that's in the front, and the skeleton that's driving. The skeleton, which we all know is All Might, says, "Nezu, are you sure about this? I know that you got clearance from the government, but these are kids we're talking about. Are you sure you want to send them into this forest? For a week? Are you sure about that?" Nezu says, "I'm pretty sure Draco will take good care of them. He's taken care of others before." All Might says, "Yes, but he's also let them die, too. These are kids. Are you sure you want to have to head back to their houses one by one to tell their parents that you sent them into the forest to die?" Mercy says, "I don't plan to, but if that comes to pass, I shall do it." All Might's like, "What? You're serious about this, Nezu? You're completely prepared for them to die." Nezu looks at All Might while drinking tea and takes a sip, and then breathes a heavy sigh and says, every single one of these kids have agreed to this. I have warned them that it might end up into their death. And every single one of them agreed to it anyway. So, they agreed to this. I am not forcing them." All Might then sighs and says, "Fine, Nezu. But at least give me some comfort by attaching cameras to them. Cameras that run off the sun." Nezu says, "Already thought of it." Nezu then gets up and gets into the back of the giant van, or truck that they're in, and says, "Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to grab one of each of these." They all see this collar or thing. They say, "What is it?" Nezu says, "It's a camera / life pulse monitor. I can see if you're still alive or if you're dead, so that I can tell if you died or not. Please do not take these off. These will only come off if you take them off. Besides that, they won't come off." They say, "What if somebody else, I don't know, some goblin tries to take it off?" And Nessa says, "Then it won't work. Only humans, or, well, humans and me can take those collars off. It's modified to where it can only take a human's fingerprint." And then one of the guys say, what if a siren or mermaid tries to take it off? Nessa says, I thought of that already too. You realize it seems that mermaids and sirens have a similar fingerprint to humans, but not exactly. There's one difference that I exploited, and not even they can take these collars off. So, one by one, they start putting on these collars. Mrs. says, now, please pair up into your groups. I know you picked the groups of 3, and I wish you luck. They they feel the truck stop. And Nessie says, well, off you go. And don't die out there, please. I don't want to have to go back to your parents and say that you died. A lot of them nod and say that they will try not to, and they hope that God is with them. Nessie says, I pray for you, young children. And Nessie then gets in the back and in front, and 3 by 3, they start slowly getting out. Until it's the group of Mount Lady, Mirako, and Ryuko. Or Ryumi, I think that's the bunny hero's name is Ryumi. Yeah, Ryumi and Ryuko and Mount Lady, which I think was something, I don't remember. I'll look it up next video. All get out in their hero costumes, but they do have one difference. They all have this blade. They all have a different type of blade, though. Mirako has blades on her bottom of her feet. She has spiked boots. And she has knuckle spikes on her fists, seeing as she's more of a hand-to-hand combat type of hero. And then we see that one person doesn't have a weapon, and that is Ryuko. She plans to utilize her claws to the best of their ability. But then we go to Mount Lady, who has a hammer that has been infused with a little bit of her hair, so that whenever she gigantifies to fight, let's say, a giant, the hammer, or let's change it to a staff, will also increase in size as well. This staff has a little bit of hammer-like things on both sides, so they learned how to fight. She learned how to fight with the staff, and the other 2 are learning how to fight with their hands. But just in case, they all have small knives on them, infused with silver in case of a werewolf. Their main weapon, Mount Lady's main weapon, is infused with silver and does have spiked ends when it comes to the hammer part. It's not flat, it's spiked, and it's covered with silver, so that whenever she fights a werewolf, she can kill it easily. And they also got a few other things, like Ryumi has spiked. Her spikes are made out of good metal and then covered with silver. But the only one with that doesn't have a solo weapon besides a knife is Ryuko. But then we skip a few hours later. They are walking, and they did encounter a few things like goblins, and they finally are in front of the wall. They touch the wall and then Mount Lady says, this is the first time I've been so close to this wall. It's weird. But then Ryumi says, it's weird, but I have been this close to the wall, but I've never been on this side. It's kind of a scary thought. just imagining what's roaming around us right now. Then we see this humongous hybrid of a wolf, a werewolf, and a giant. This giant werewolf, basically, is on all fours, running, breaking down trees in its way. And it's running towards the wall, planning to try to climb up it, until it notices the three girls. And something else also notices this bloodlust and this crazed search for blood around in the forest. And the three girls hear a boom and see sparks of light electricity coming off. And they see this giant tail, powerful. And they see the wolf thing under the claws of. And then Mount Lady says, "Draco! He saved us!" And whenever Ryumi was about to say something, she stops a minute in and seeing that Izuku chops the neck of this beast and kills it. And then starts eating it. And he stops, uses his wings to wipe off some of the blood, and then looks at the girls. He walks close to them and puts his head near them. Ryuko goes full dragon mode, but it's not even close to the size compared to Izuku, close to Izuku's size. And that lady starts to gigantify, and she's still not as big as Izuku. She's almost there, but Izuku is let's say, a meter taller than her. She's scared. This is the first thing that's been bigger than her, besides that wolf. Even the giants, which range to 15 meters. To lower, to the minimum of 5 meters. She is the height of 20, or she can go up to that. She still has the same gigantification height as Canon. She can go up to 20 meters high. Izuku can decrease and increase his size. Right now, he's around 40 meters tall. But there's plenty of things that are gigantic in this forest. A lot bigger than what Izuku is right now. What is his max height? I'll change his max height to 19 meters. And Izuku then starts shrinking, electricity sparking off of him. And they see that Izuku shrinks down, and they see a humanoid figure, the same height as them. Oh no, not the same height. It's a 10 feet, no, 7 foot tall person. No, 6'10", nearly 7, but not there yet. Still very full. And has a sword, or he which they have identified him as a guy. They're thinking, is this Draco? And you see, Zuko has this this cloak. This cloak is really old-fashioned, but it's cool. But he has wings and his tail exposed, and his face is still in a dragon-type form. But they notice he's still so powerful. His presence alone is something to fear. Zuko with the sword on his hip. No, on his back. His wings inside his back. His tail is still exposed. Is in front of the three girls. That lady shrank down to her human height, and Ryuko down into her human form. And Izuku bends down a little bit and looks at them, then starts sparking his fingers and snaps. Izuku then just starts walking away. Ryuko says, "Where are you going? Is there anything we can help you with?" Ryumi says, "What? You're talking to Draco. He's a dragon. What did he use to help for?" Izuku then stops and looks at her, and he gestures for them to follow. She says, "Looks like he could use us for something." And they follow, kind of scared, seeing as they're in the presence of the gatekeeper, or what they know as the gatekeeper, or better known as Draco, the storm dragon. Many people with lightning-based quirks have tried to challenge Zuko, but none of their attacks ever did any damage to him. It honestly looked like Zuko absorbed the attacks and got stronger because of them. Not much, but stronger nonetheless. Zuko then opens this wooden shack that they found underneath a waterfall. He opens a door and gestures for them to come in. They walk in, and he's kind of cozy in here. Zuko then walks to the kitchen and points to a few dishes. And God damn it. I'll be right back, guys. Sorry about that, guys. After that, Ryuko, that lady is washing the girls' clothes. Izuku has given them other pieces of clothing. They're all wearing white shirts that are really big for them, but all of them are wearing it, and they're warm. And they see that Izuku is just sitting down, sleeping. Not a care in the world. But then they hear a knock. Izuku immediately jolts up, and they see sparking coming off of him. And he appears immediately at the door, not even letting any of the girls react and try to answer. Izuku opens the door and sees another human. Izuki then takes out the sign and says only one may enter. And whatever, then he sees that one of these gated people have a blonde hair and are a very muscular build. This guy turns on his quirk and bashes his two friends' heads into the wall and says, "Can I enter then?" Izuku's not happy, terrified, scared, or even surprised. He's furious. This is a test. And then three girls pop in behind Izuku, and the guy says, "Wait, why can only one answer when there's already three girls in here?" And before he could answer, the guy could say one more word. There was a sword through his heart. The girls were terrified. They just saw him take out his sword. Well, they couldn't see him take out his sword. That's what was terrifying. They didn't notice him taking out his sword. He did it too fast. And we see a picture of Izuku stabbing a blonde-haired guy with a muscle augmentation quirk, better known as muscular. And the girls, which this picture slowly starts turning to gray. If some of y'all watch Blue Clown, you might know this. He did this on a few of his what ifs, and I just thought it was a genius idea. So I'm going to be borrowing it a little bit.